As musicians, it is our job to tell the truth. So don't be surprised when you are punished for it. Hello, everyone. My name is Jack. And if the algorithm found you, you are a fan of grunge music. My band is called Mera. And you can find all of our songs right here on this YouTube channel or wherever you stream your music. And I do thank you very, very much for doing that because I do believe grunge heals. And leave a comment down below if you'd like a free sticker. I want to talk a little bit today about the pressure to create as a musician, the pressure to keep your own spiritual truth, and what I would like to refer to as enthusiasm at gunpoint. You know, Nirvana had a big hit on their hands when they created Nevermind. I mean, I think that everybody knew ahead of time that it was going to be a big record. I think the record label knew. I think everybody who had heard the early demos knew it was going to be a big hit, but they didn't know exactly how big it was going to be. And when it kind of reached this incredible legendary status, there was a lot of pressure on Nirvana and Kurt Cobain in particular to follow that up with another record. And when they went in to make In Utero, you know, Kurt didn't want to make Nevermind Part 2. He wanted to make a very, very different record. He was inspired by the work of Steve Albini, who had worked with the Breeders and a lot of other really kind of cool indie bands. And he wanted definitely a different sort of sound, more raw sounding, a little closer to what he felt was the music he intended to make from the beginning. In essence, he was following his own truth. What he would describe as the sound he heard in his head. Nevermind I think he was happy with it, but it wasn't exactly the record he wanted to make. The record label initially, they rejected the record completely. They sent it back. They wanted it remixed. They said, we don't hear a hit song. And I think that, you know, this really bothered Kurt because he felt that he had built up enough sort of credit with them. You know, he'd already given them a hit record. He was like, well, wait a minute, this is what I want to do. And all of a sudden, no one cared what he wanted to do. They just wanted another hit record. And this is a common theme with creatives who are interested in just creating their own art. But when you have something that's successful, it's a double-edged sword. Because when you create something that is a success, it demands a sequel. And you see that all over Hollywood. I mean, give me a break. Every single movie in the theaters right now is either a sequel or something that's based off another movie. Nobody is interested in something new. And the commercialism that's sort of like chasing success is going to doom you to failure. No one is going to be permanently at the top. If you find yourself wanting to be permanently in the number one position, you're in big trouble because you're going to find that you're going to try to recreate something you already did, right? We find that a lot with pop music. We want to recreate that success, so we kind of maybe find a formula that works. And, you know, you can stick to that formula, but after a while, that's really gonna wear on you. You're gonna find that your art's gonna become empty, and it's a big price to pay. You see a lot of that in pop music now. If you take a look at, let's say, Lil Nas X just an example, he had this smash hit that Old Town Road was such a big hit. I think it was like the record for most weeks at the top. I don't quote me on that, but I know it broke a lot of records as far as being a number one song. There was a lot of pressure on this pretty young and inexperienced artist to recreate that. And not just musically, but he had to recreate it stylistically. And, you know, he was a social media sensation. So he really was trying hard to recreate that magic. And I think it was really difficult for him to do that. And ultimately, he found himself sort of following this formula of trying to shock people, you know, with videos and things like that. and it wore off. Eventually, people stopped noticing. They stopped being shocked, quite frankly, because you can only shock people so many times. I mean, the spiritual truth is that you don't know what's going to be a hit. A lot of times, the hit song is the one you don't even expect. That's why it's important as an artist to just show up and create. For instance, I had a lot of trouble making this video right here. Me talking to you, this was a big deal. I had a splitting headache today. Nothing could make it go away. I really didn't feel like making a video. And then all of a sudden, my condenser mic just shit the bed. I have no idea why. It just stopped working. So I'm using my SM57. And I really, I was just like, I really felt like the universe was telling me, hey, Jack, don't make a video, go to sleep. But I've learned as an artist over the years that just showing up is the work. Because again, you don't control the success. You can't control when a video goes viral. You can't control when your song gets a lot of streams on Spotify. What you do control is your consistency. And what you do control is your commitment to that. So if you made a commitment to be consistent as an artist, I would say reconnect with that. Recommit. Renew your vows to do that. And just show up and do the work. I know Kurt was someone who wrote a lot of music, and he would write tons and tons of songs, and they would record the songs. Sometimes they'd use the song. Sometimes they'd save the song for the next record. There's a really great Nirvana song called Sappy. It's my favorite Nirvana song, actually. And they recorded it every single time they made a record. When they made Bleach, when they made Nevermind, when they made In Utero, every single producer recorded this song. And that song never made one of their albums. In fact, it didn't show up until it was on a various artist compilation called No Alternative. And it's only because he kept at it, he just kept persistently recording it over and over again that we finally got to hear that song. So it's important to show up and hit record and be true to what your message is, because artists are like sharks. We have to keep moving. We have to keep swimming. And as Julia Cameron says, sometimes it feels like you have to create enthusiasm at gunpoint, right? Think about that. It's like, make an album right now. Like it's kind of that's a lot of pressure. But if we don't keep moving as artists, and we don't keep creating, and we don't keep making what it is we do, whether you're a musician or you're a painter or you're a writer or you have a podcast, whatever you do, you got to keep moving. Because if you don't, like a shark, if you stop moving, you're going to die. If you stop creating, you're going to wither like a dead tree, and your branches are going to get brittle and you're going to fall apart. The way you rejuvenate is you just keep creating, and success comes and success goes. That's not up to you. I think as musicians, we get tired, we get exhausted. I know Kurt Cobain was very tired, especially towards the end of his career, with all the pressure to tour and make videos and do interviews. And we ask ourselves, as an artist, like, can I rest? Can I just take a rest? And the answer is no. It's no. You really can't. I mean, no one's asking you to create the greatest, no one's asking you to paint the Sistine Chapel every week. But you've got to keep creating. You've got to find a way to show up and just do the work and not worry about the quality of it. Because, again, the answer is no. You can't stop. And I think ultimately Kurt felt the pressure of that, and he wanted to stop so badly that he stopped permanently. And we don't want that. We don't want that pressure to build up to create something so much that we want to just quit completely. That's never the answer. And I think as artists, we all have something to give. I know you have something to give. So I'm asking you to renew that commitment, renew your vows to yourself, because it's important that your art gets out there. It's important that you share what you have to the world, because just like I believe grunge heals, I know it healed me, and I know your art heals you. And I know that you have something great inside of you to share. So share your greatness. Don't be scared to do it, because the world is waiting. It's going to heal you. And when you heal yourself, you heal the world.